Hi, this is Linda Cook.
And I'm Sharon Wren.
And we are QC Crime Watch. We bring you every week recent stories about crime and court hearings that we've attended. We always give a caveat. Sharon, you want to give the, we can't recommend a lawyer?
We can't recommend a lawyer because that would be a conflict of interest. We cannot give legal advice because, among other things, we have no legal training.
Right.
You want professionals.
You do. So we have some really
wild. This is gonna be a good show.
This is a wild group of crimes here. Sharon's is probably the wildest, but mine is one of those stories you can tell. We can see how many people have viewed a story on our website. So Sharon's has gone absolutely off the charts, but this next story did fairly well too. And this one happened in Davenport. And I know you're going to have questions. I have questions too, but we have to follow along to find out the details on this one. 48-year-old Davenport woman faces a felony theft charge for overdue library materials for 13 years. Okay. This is according to Scott County Court documents. Her name is Stacy Dean, and she faces a charge of second-degree theft, which is a Class D felony, according to court records. Now, arrest affidavits are what police fill out, and most of what we tell you about is from arrest affidavits or being on hand personally in court. So according to arrest affidavits, Dean and a relative checked out library materials from the Davenport Public Library. This is the Fairmount Street, 3000 Fairmount Street branch. Right. And this was on April 3rd, 2012. Let that sink in. And also on other dates with April 19, 2012 is the last date of activity. Now, the library sent Dean notices by mail and notified her of overdue items and fines that she owed. They also sent a collection agency after her. This is unreturned library materials and unpaid fines. So I want to just clarify this. Nowhere in this affidavit does it say books. It might be books, but I don't know.
It could just as easily be movies, it could, CDs, records even.
We don't know.
We don't know.
So Dean owes a total, now this is as of 2013. Dean owed a total of $1,117 for unreturned items and fees. She was arrested on a warrant last week. This is again, according to Scott County records. She was released on her own recognizance and is scheduled for preliminary hearing on November 18. And if we can't go to that, we will certainly be following up with the court records.
Yeah, like you said, there are questions.
This is what we know, and we can't really speculate too much.
No. It might come out at trial. It might not even go to trial.
It might not go to trial. So, but anyway, that's what I've never seen anything like this in my 45 years of doing this. And I certainly got some personal emails with questions, but I couldn't answer them.
Well, we go from overdue library books to what I'm calling the best crime story of 2025 around here.
It is.
Okay. Hold on, y'all. A woman from Davenport, Iowa, was arrested in Geneseo, Illinois last week after police say they found her between the walls of a business.
The minute she came out of the wall, we heard the police say, "You're under arrest for trespassing." And she tried to claim she just fell, but actually her feet were on the bottom, so she went down like Santa Claus.
Not exactly in the business, in the walls. So, a business owner called police in Geneseo on November 5th at about 25 after 5 in the afternoon after hearing a loud noise coming from the ceiling or the attic portion of the business. Police searched the building for about 15 minutes. They heard a noise, couldn't determine where it was from. So about 15 minutes later, the business owner called back saying that there were noises coming from a different part of the building. So they came back. And they checked both this business and other ones on the block this time. And they heard whispering and movement coming from inside the building while they were searching. So about 6:30, they made contact with someone they determined was between the interior walls of the business.
I would love to hear that conversation.
I just want to know who this suspect was whispering with or to
Right.
while in the walls. But because only one person was arrested in connection with this, Geneseo firefighters arrived and helped remove the person who's been identified as Callie Getch, 26, from the walls. During the investigation, officers discovered that businesses in the South State Street area sustained damage on potential access points on their shared rooftop. She was arrested and charged with burglary, criminal damage to property, and criminal trespass. She waived her right to a preliminary hearing. She has a pretrial conference scheduled for December 22nd and a jury trial already for January 5th. They're not messing around in Henry
They're
County.
moving along. I want to say one other thing that I do here at WHBFR Quad Cities is I do movie reviews. I've been a movie critic for many, many, many years. And a new movie that's still in theaters is called Roofman. And the idea, this is a true story.
Yes, Channing Tatum is in the movie.
He's the star, and he plays a guy who broke into at least 45 McDonald's through the roof. He got in through the roof. And I can't help but wonder if this is more than a coincidence that this movie is out at the same time this crime happened.
Was it? I'm trying to remember from the story. Didn't they find him living in the walls of a Toys R Us or in this?
He was in a Toys R Us, yes,
where he's
in
living.
an area.
Yeah, like
and
a crawl space or something.
Yeah, he lived there quite some time. Anyway, I couldn't help but think of the movie. Maybe they don't have anything to do with each other, but it is an odd coincidence if they don't.
Well, we are definitely following this case.
Didn't you hear from all parts of the country?
Yeah, we had requests to share this story from Tampa, St. Louis, the network. So you can read all about this at ourquadcities.com, as well as a follow-up story where one of our reporters, Riley Hemmer, talked with some of the business owners.
That's right. And you need to see there's a
God, the
mugshot. So please go to ourquadcities.com and search for Woman in Walls and Geneseo. And
Well, probably if you just search Geneseo, it'll pull it up pretty
right.
quick.
The mugshot is a don't miss, I would say.
Oh, yes, Linda, what do you have?
Well, this is sort of a crime, but not really. The reason I'm sharing this is because someone spoke up, and I think it's so important that we do that. If we see something unusual, say something to somebody. Don't put it on Facebook or Instagram, Snapchat it with a few people. Say something to someone who can help you. So here's an example of how that's a good thing. Now, this is a report, a threat last week at Maquoketa High School. And this report of a threat remains under investigation. So this is according to a statement, all of this, from Tara Knotts, the superintendent of the Maquoketa Community School District. After school at Maquoketa High School, a student brought a concern to the attention of a staff member. And the student said they had seen or heard about a video that depicted a possible threat toward another student.
Oh, dear.
Okay, so district administration immediately reported the concern to Maquoketa police, and an investigation began. So I'm going to quote the superintendent. We take all reports of threats or concerning behavior seriously and follow established district policy and safety protocols in partnership with local law enforcement. At this time, and this is the last that we have heard, based on the information we have and our close collaboration with the Maquoketa Police Department, this appears to be an isolated incident. Out of an abundance of caution, there will be an increased police presence at Maquoketa High School, and it says tomorrow, to help ensure a continued safe and secure environment. Please know that the safety of our students and staff is our highest priority. We will continue to monitor the situation closely and communicate as appropriate. We are grateful to the student who spoke up and to the staff member who responded quickly. This reflects the importance of our shared commitment to the principle, if you see something, say something. I think whoever this student is should at least get an add student, add a girl, add a boy.
Way to go. Good job.
Because who knows what was stopped.
Right.
And I know this is a little blurry. We don't know for certain what happened or what might have happened. But I like the idea that it took two people. The student did the right thing, went to a staff member who went to the police, and it was right now. And I like that.
Right.
I think that if adults were more like that, we would have less crime and particularly less predatory behavior.
Yeah.
So that's all I have today. But Sharon, I know you have more.
I got a couple
You
here.
have more.
Well, we have a follow-up on a story that we've been following for, closing in on 2.5 years now, but it doesn't always make the news, so people are concerned that the ball has been dropped. The Iowa Supreme Court ruled this week that 2 City of Davenport employees are not protected under qualified immunity in connection with the massive lawsuit over the collapse of the Davenport building in May of 2023. Now, you might not know, not everyone knows what qualified immunity is. Cornell Law School's website says, qualified immunity is, and this is a quote, a type of legal immunity that protects a government official from lawsuits alleging that the official violated a plaintiff's rights, only allowing suits where officials violated a clearly established statutory or constitutional right. Qualified immunity balances 2 important interests: the need to hold public officials accountable when they exercise power irresponsibly, and the need to shield officials from harassment, distraction, and liability when they perform their duties reasonably.
So that means they can't be sued, correct?
Qualified immunity
Immunity
means you cannot be sued. But
Right.
the Iowa Supreme Court said, the City of Davenport and 2 employees, Trishna Pradhan and
Mhm.
Richard Oswald, were appealing an earlier denial of a motion to dismiss under the Iowa Municipal Torts Claims Act. A district court denied an earlier motion to dismiss, saying the plaintiff's petition satisfied the requirements of the act. And this is the justices said in their decision, the qualified immunity provisions in Section 670.4 do not apply to the common law tort claims asserted against the city defendants in this case. And because Section 670.4a does not apply, the city defendant's appeal under this provision necessarily fails. We thus dismiss the appeal. What all of this means is all this time the case against the city and the other defendants has been on hold pending this decision. So now that the court has ruled, the case in Scott County can pick back up. And the most recent filing in this case was a jury demand from one of the defendants filed on August 21st.
Okay.
So the ball has not been dropped in this case. It is just moving very slowly because there are a lot of lawsuits and filings and motions, and this is not an easy case.
No, but
for
they
anyone.
could be sued.
They could
That's
be sued.
the
That's
upshot
thing.
of this.
But they had to pause the lawsuit here until they could decide whether or not they were sued. So
Right. Okay.
we back on.
Okay.
And wrapping things up in more ways than one, 2 men from the Quad Cities were sentenced to lengthy terms in federal prison for their parts in a 20-year-long criminal enterprise in the Quad Cities that was connected to dozens of shooting investigations and at least 7 homicides. Oh, yeah. Rashim Bogan, now 34, was sentenced to 27 years in federal prison on October 9th for racketeering, conspiracy, and felon in possession of ammunition. He and 7 co-defendants who have already been sentenced, you can find this on the website, they went to a Davenport jewelry store in June of 2020 to rob it, but they saw a man that they mistakenly thought was a rival gang member and fired 33 rounds from 4 firearms at him. He was seriously injured. Now, on November 6th, Kylie Cartwright Jr., age 29, was sentenced to 30 years in federal prison for racketeering, conspiracy, and felon in possession of ammunition and must pay $29,732.23 in restitution. Evidence at the trial showed that on July 5th, 2020, Cartwright fired 4 rounds from a .40 caliber pistol towards a man on West 3rd Street in Davenport, and that man died. Mr. Cartwright used the same pistol that another gang member had fired during the jewelry store shooting. So a total of 14 defendants, including Bogan and Cartwright, have been convicted for federal crimes for their parts in the 5th Street Gang's criminal activities between April 2006 and February 2024. Their sentences range from 12 years in federal prison to 40.
So this is truly organized
Truly
crime.
organized crime. And these guys were terrorizing people for years and decades. Oh my.
No.
But And there is no parole in the federal prison
Right.
system.
So they will do that time.
yeah, they will do. Yep. Oh my goodness. So
Well, this was quite a week, Sharon, the
Quite a
last few
week,
days. We'll see
yes.
what comes up. We also want you to know that we're in touch with a few people. I'm not going to give away any names, but we may have some guests on in the next few weeks. So stay tuned. Keep your doors locked.
and your house doors,
That's
car
right.
doors, everything. And we will see you next time.